Hey everybody, Tall Family Films here. My brake line got a hole in it on a really old truck, an old Ford Ranger. So I bought a new brake line. It's a 40-inch. This is for the rear, but this is the screw ends. The threads don't match the systems, for Ford. So I'm gonna have to cut this and put the old ends back on this tubing. And you're going to get to see everything, including like how do you make sure that you're cutting it straight, how do you flare it properly, and all of those things. So here we go. Okay, so you're going to need a cutter like this. Okay, this is like a copper, steel, aluminum tube cutter, and in theory, it lays down in here. If I can get it lays down in here, and it should be straight in theory. But I'm going to show you a trick, even if this isn't straight, like if something were to go wrong. So I'm just tightening it with my hand here, tightening the threads up a little bit. With what I believe is to be a straight cut. Whoops, excuse me. With what I believe is to be a straight cut. Well, you know what? I'm gonna cut a little bit more off because this tube is a little bit longer than the one that came from the factory. I'm gonna cut off a couple of inches. So, okay. So now I have it in here. Theoretically should be straight. Like I said, it's okay if it's not. So we just tighten this just a little bit. You just tighten it down so that it puts just a little bit of pressure on the tube, and then we start turning it. If the whole tube starts turning in your hands, maybe loosen the threads just a little bit. So we just keep doing this. So we just keep tightening and turning. So we got a few times around it. It starts loosening. You can feel it going around really easy. We just tighten the threads just a little bit more. And you can really feel it towards the end. It feels like it's going to fall off. And I don't know if you can see it down in there, if we'll be able to focus on it, but you can actually see the tube is cut most of the way through at this point. So we just keep doing our thing here. And there it goes. Just fell off, okay? So now we have the tube cut. Now I'm gonna show you the trick for if it's not completely straight, because it's very important that it be 100% straight this way, and we're gonna ensure that right now. So you're gonna need a flaring kit for this next part. So I got this one from Advance Auto. It's a loaner, so it doesn't cost me anything as long as I take it back when I'm done. It includes this little clamp here, and if you notice, it's got numbers on one side and nothing on the other. What we're gonna do, this is a 3/16, so I happen to know that's this one right here. What we're gonna do is put this as level as we can, like it's really, really down in there at this point, okay? So, whoops, put that on backwards. Now, we tighten these down, and we should put it in a vise right about now. Okay, and we also want the vise to be level, so just put your fingers across here, feel like you've got it as level as you can possibly get it. And then tighten the clamp down on the vise. Get that good and tight. So we put it in backwards, by the way. The numbers are on this side of the clamping bar. This is called the clamping bar, by the way. We're gonna use another piece, and this is called a clamping yoke. And so what we're gonna do is just file this off. So we're gonna just tighten around the tubing because we don't want it to slip. These holes are threaded in here so that it won't slip, but you do need to tighten these down. Like you can see maybe in that video, in that picture, you could see like I'm not really as tight as I should be on this side. So we just clamp these until they stop, and they are sized obviously for the size tubing that you have. So we've got it in there now, and this is pretty flat, but it's not completely flat. So what I'm gonna do is take a file and file that off. So now we just start filing, and the reason we did it upside down is because the numbers are on the other side. We don't want to file the numbers off. That would just be inconvenient for the kid, especially if you're borrowing it like I am. So we just start filing like this. There are times that you'll be filing it and you'll think, oh, I've got it. Like it's definitely filed down. But what you should do is take the file and you should be able to slide it completely across without it stopping. So we're not done. So when we feel like we're good and level, sometimes I put a finger on top of it just to make sure we're hitting it level right across the top of the tubing. But from all angles now, it just slides completely over it. So I know that we're pretty good right now. So now we know the tube is cut straight. Okay, so now we just loosen this up. We remove the tubing out. So it's getting prepped right now. You know, it's okay, but we're not done for sure. A couple of different tools that we could use. You can use a wire brush and shove that down in there. We're trying to get all of the burrs out, all of the little sharp, you know, pieces of metal that are cut off but are just clinging on by nothing, right? So my cutting tool has this deburr in it. So I'm just putting this in here and just deburring. I'm not pressing really hard on this. I'm just, you know, decent amount of pressure just to clean out what I can. Okay, so now that's done. I will take a wire brush, just clean it up a little bit. There's likely a little edge right here on this from when we filed it flat and cut it, so you can certainly just lightly file this down. Just try to get everything straight. One of the dangers when we were using the tube cutter, you don't want to tighten the threads too tightly at any one point. It's nice and loose, just keep spinning, tighten, spinning, tighten, spinning. If you go too much, you can flatten the tube in that one spot, and then we won't get a good flare, and whatever you're working on is going to leak. So, all right, so now that feels pretty smooth. It's going up and down on there very nicely. Just going to file the top just a tiny bit. Wire brush again. Wire brush down inside there. And then I always just run a little bit of shop air through it when you're done with that, which I'm not going to show here. Okay, so now we're going to go back into the 3/16 clamp. Just very loosely putting it on there right now. Your kit that you borrowed or that you bought likely comes with a lot of these little adapters, and they have sizes for the size tubing that we're dealing with. Mine's 3/16, so I'm going to take that adapter out of there. And this adapter has two purposes. One is we put this little nipple down inside there, and you're going to see us in a minute when we smash that with the yoke to create the flare. But the question is, how much tubing do we want here? Like, how much sticks out of here? And I've seen a ton of videos and nobody really explained this really well, so I'm hoping to do that right now. Okay, so we put well, you know what, first we gotta turn this thing over like it's supposed to be. Sorry about that. Let's get it on 3/16. Okay. Now, let me zoom out a little bit because we keep losing this. Okay, so what we need to do is take this adapter, and you're just going to lay it on there, and you're just trying to see, is this first little lip, see this adapter has two steps? We want the pipe to be right here on this first lip, exactly even with it. Okay, so that's pretty close. Whoops, I'm pressing on one side of it. One moment. Let's try that again. Show you what's going on here. Okay. That first level, the first step, it is level with that. Don't know how well you can see that, but it is. So now we need to go back into the vise. Again, do your best to make the vise level. My vise isn't clamped down like it should be. Okay, now when we go to tighten these nuts back up, sometimes the bar itself, like one side of it is not level with the other, and so keep your fingers on it to make sure that you are getting it level like it should be, because we're going to use the adapter to do the flaring, and if these two bars are not even, we're going to have a problem. Okay. Let's zoom in just a little bit closer. Okay, so we've got this tight, and we're just tightening these as tight as they'll go. I mean, where it's literally metal against metal, and it feels pretty darn smooth right there right now. I'm gonna check to make sure that I didn't slip at all here, and that looks perfectly level with that adapter. So now, just like we talked about earlier, we take and we put this nipple inside. Now, we take the yoke, and the adapter has a hole in the bottom of it, and it's meant to receive. The yoke has a pointed groove on there. The adapter has a groove on it that point goes into, just like this from the yoke. All right, so here we go. Okay, make sure we're right in the groove. We are, so I'm just finger tightening, getting it down where it needs to be. Okay. And now we're gonna tighten this. And what I would do is I would just do a couple of little half turns, quarter turns, and we just make sure that down here, the adapter is still sitting level, that it is not turning one side or the other. If that's happening, you're gonna have a problem. The flare won't be good. Ask me how I know. All right, so we just tighten until it stops. Okay, it stopped. We're gonna back this back out. And we're gonna take the adapter out. Now, if you're doing a brake line, you need to do something called a double flare, which is what we're about to do. I assume there's other applications where you just need a single flare and you'd stop right now. But anyways, we just put this directly down into that hole in the tube. Make sure it's level and straight. It's okay, the yoke will twist to the side, but it still locks in place and it's still level. And again, we just tighten until it stops. Okay, I could probably keep going, but that's pretty good. I mean, it's tight. So I'm gonna stop there. We're gonna take a look what we've done here. Now you can see what it looks like sitting in there. I'd give that an A-. I could have done better, but it's not a terrible flare, and it will probably do the job and not leak. We're gonna find out, of course. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention that we're gonna go back and do right now. When I go to do the double flare, I should have put a little bit of oil on there. That'll help smooth things out. Creates a little bit of a neater flare. So I haven't loosened the clamps or anything, so this should go just back exactly like it was, and we'll just do this one more time. Some people use brake fluid for the lubricant. It doesn't matter. It's just another type of lubricant. We just need something. Okay. So that should smooth it out a little bit for us. I'll give you one more look at it. Okay, not bad. So now we take the clamping bar loose here, and we should have a brake line that's going to work for us. Okay, it's not terrible looking for a do-it-yourself flare, and it looks like it's going to match up pretty good with this nut, so I think we're going to have a good solution on this one. Thing is, brake lines aren't straight like that, okay, so they're crooked like this, and so you're going to need to do your best to bend the tubing to match that. And to do that, you need a tool similar to this one. You basically put the tube in right here, it holds it steady. I can do that, and then as you clamp this down, it rolls the tube around in a nice, smooth, even fashion. So, hope this video has helped you. If it has, you could really help me by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much.